Hello again. We're working with the law of cosines this time, and basically you use the law of cosines when you can't use the law of sines. It's a lot more inconvenient of a formula. And I give this formula to my students and I tell them to memorize it, and they can't memorize it, it's too difficult. It's like rocket science. It's not. Here we go. You got three options: a squared, b squared, and c squared. If you use a squared, then it's b squared plus c squared. If you use b squared, it's a and c. And if it's c squared, it's a and b. It's just the other two that you didn't use. Then you subtract the b and the c, but they're not squared. Then you subtract the a and the c. Then you subtract the a and the b. And it's cosine of c, cosine of b, cosine of a. He's just working out a pattern. As long as you can figure it out, it's fine. And in this particular case, I have to use the law of cosines. I can't use the law of sines because I'm not given an angle and its respective side. You know, I'm given the angle C, but I'm not given its respective side. I'm given the side B, but not its angle. I'm given the side A, but not its respective angle. So I can't use the law of sines here. If I could, I would, but I can't. What I can do is I can use one of these three formulas. Now, since I'm given angle C, that's the one I'm going to use. I'm not given angle B or angle A, so it's not going to really work out as well as I want it to. So if I'm given two sides and an angle, and I don't have the opposite of an angle, if I don't have an angle on its respective side, I can't use law of cosines. I'm sorry, law of sines. So I use the law of cosines. So c squared equals a squared, which is 18 squared, plus 24 squared, subtracted by 2 times 18 times 24, yeah, you can do that right, good, times the cosine of 57 degrees. I don't know what the cosine of 57 degrees is. I know that it's close to 0.5. It's a little bit more than 0.5, but other than that, I don't really know. So c squared equals 18 squared, and 18 squared is 18 times 18, which is 324. Whew, fortunately I knew that one. Let's see, is that actually true? 289, 4, yeah, 324, plus 24 squared, 25 squared is 625, so 24 squared is 576. Subtracted by 2 times 24 times 18. I don't know what that one is off the top of my head. 24, yeah, you know what, I'm not going to even try. 2 times 18 times 24 is 864. Actually, I probably could have figured that out, but don't want to. And it's times the cosine of 57 degrees. So I'm almost done, but not quite. C squared equals 324 plus 576. 324 plus 576 is 900. I can't believe I didn't figure that out off the top of my head. Subtracted by 864 times the cosine of 57 degrees. And here's a good time to plug in the cosine of 57 degrees. Cosine of 57 degrees is 0.5446. 0.5446. And here's what I tell my students to do. Do this part first. Multiply by negative 864 first. Negative 864 is about negative 470.5. So we're going to make it negative 471. Is my answer going to vary? Slightly, but not that much. So I've got 900 minus 471 equals c squared. So what I do is I add 900 to my negative 471, or I take 900 minus 471 is 429. So c squared equals about 429. Now the answer is going to vary a little bit because I did a little bit of rounding. Big deal. Take the square root of 429 and you get about 20.7. So c is about 20.7. Give or take, it's approximate. It could actually be closer to 20.8, 20.6 if I did my rounding a little better, which I didn't, but you know. So my c is 20.7. Now what's really cool is I'm given an angle and its side, so now I can use the law of sines if I want to. A lot easier than the law of cosine. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the sine of c over c, sine of angle c over c, which is sine of 57 degrees, over 20.7, and I'm going to set it equal to either the sine of a or b. It doesn't really matter which one goes first. I'm going to do a because a is alphabetical. I don't know the sine of a, but I do know that the side of it is 18. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cross multiply. When I cross multiply, I get sine of 57 degrees times 18, and it's going to be divided by 20.7. And this side's going to be sine of A times 20.7. I'm going to divide 20.7 on both sides. That's why I got 20.7 under here. I don't know what that is off the top of my head, unfortunately, but that's okay. So I do the sine of 57 degrees multiplied by 18 divided by 20.7. And I get about 0.73. Not exact, but well, you know what, I'm going to take the inverse sine of 0.73 anyways. So this is about 0.73 equals sine of A. Take the inverse sine of both sides. So that's what I'm going to do. (46.8). I would round that to about 47 degrees. So A equals 47 degrees, give or take. Now, human error comes in. I mean, if you round, your answers are going to vary slightly. Maybe this could have ended up being 46 degrees or closer to 46. Not terribly sure. I'm not the most efficient when it comes around. 57 plus 47 is 90, plus an extra 14 is 104. 180 minus 104 is 76. So my B is 76. Does that make sense? Does the biggest angle go with the biggest side, second biggest angle, second biggest side, third biggest angle, third biggest side? Yes, it does, fortunately. So that's an example of using the law of cosines. You can also do that when you're given all three sides. But with that said, have a good day for now. Goodbye.